What's up, everybody? Yeah, that's right, Sam. I've been growing it out for a little bit here. Yeah, it looks alright. What's going on, Matt? Okay, that's sweet. You guys are all here. You get to see this special RTN tech. Probably don't kick the crap out of me in a couple weeks, but I've been playing this deck all weekend, and I got it to a point where I'm actually really happy with it. I know everyone else is just trying out new cards and stuff, but I've been winning games. Doing alright. I figured what I would do is just jump into a game, and then maybe after the first game, go through the list a little bit. But just to show some right there. You guys have to let me know if this stream cuts out anything. Okay, Dash.io, sweet. I have not played a Dash yet. Now that they don't have the symbiosis shot, I feel like this headpiece probably isn't worth it. I think I'd rather fix a hand with the Crown of Providence. Just gonna jump in here. Like I said, I'll show you the deck maybe after the first round. I'm gonna throw everything that blocks. Yeah, let's see what we can come up with. Why are there blue block 2s in the deck? If we draw one, I'll let you know. But basically, the intent behind this deck is turbo Fealty, so I'm trying to get to 3 Fealty as quick as I possibly can, so that my turns can get really efficient. And that includes even turn 0 here. So I have a couple of these Draconic Warrior attack reactions, and if I can make a Fealty turn 0, I'm definitely going to do that. Worst case scenario, I'm going to try and arc. So, yeah, let's see what we can do. We can actually throw out this Sworn Vengeance to start, and we might even get mark action. So we hit them, we're gonna mark them. So I'm gonna throw this long whiskered loyalty at them and buff it up. Try and get in. And then we can actually maybe even make a Fealty this turn. We're gonna need a resource to swing and a resource. I'm not gonna create it. But now the opponent's marked, we're gonna swing our second dagger. If this hits, we'll get a Fealty, and we will probably use the stabbing pain as well to mark them a second time. So we might even be able to get our second Fealty on our first turn of the game. I'm not really looking at the numbers. I don't really care about the actual damage I'm dealing. I'm just trying to get as many of these Fealties as I can. Ideally, I'm drawing 1 blue a turn. So we have our blue here. We've also got a couple extenders that boost our chain link count, so that's pretty sweet. We do have an extra 1-cost attack reaction. So I'm not going to be able to play both of these next turn, but I think it's probably best case just like personal one of these. So looking at the hand, I have a blue, I have some kind of extender. We're probably going to actually go up to 3 Fealty next turn with this devotion. So I'm not blocking, I'm just going to take everything and use Valiant Dynamo on the last chain link. That seems a little scary, given that they have a really relevant item. So I'm probably going to block a little bit this turn. So whatever extra reaction I have here, I'm going to block with it, just so the dash doesn't get far ahead. Yeah, we're definitely racing. Okay, this is going to be sweet. So our opponent is marked. We have 1 Fealty already, and we have an attack reaction that's going to give us a second Fealty, or a third Fealty, I guess. Normally, if you just run these attack reactions out on the first chain link, they're just going to do damage, but because we have this Oath of Loyalty, we're going to be able to hit And we're going to have an extra... Oh, no, we aren't going to have any extra. That's all good. But we're going to go up to 3 Fealty, and then our turns just get so incredibly efficient after that point. One of the things I'm trying to do with this deck, especially after I found my 3 Fealty, is try to float a pure token forward with the kings. Because sometimes the reactions you draw cost 1. Most of the reactions in the deck are 0s, but some of them cost 1, and so I find if you just float the resource turn to turn, that can really... So we're going to run this out, we're going to get a 2nd Fealty, we're going to hit, which is our 3rd Fealty. I don't know. I'm only seeing 2 Fealties here, so I'm just going to say no. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so this weapon swing is free, and then if this hits, we can get our Vigor token. And now we're on 3 Fealty, so we basically just play as efficiently as we can. We do a lot of blocking, actually, after we have our 3 Fealty. Basically, anything that can't go on a combat chain gets blocked with. But this is crazy, right? Like, this Hunt's End is turned on now, usually does nothing, usually we're blocking with this, but now that we have 3 Fealty, this is going to enable the whole turn. Blade Flurry at this point is just gravy on top. We can't really do anything with this for the Drakai, so we'll probably end up blocking with that. Blaze Headlong, just an extender here. So let's throw some armor at the Drakai. We're gonna block with the for the Drakai. If I had multiple Draconic attack reactions, I would save it, throw it at the end of the chain. I'm gonna block with it when... Yeah, Matt, this hero's been super fun for me. It's a warrior, which is sweet. Love warriors, love weapons, but the turn sequencing actually seems complicated enough that it's actually pretty fun. So, we are getting beat down here, but I think... Okay, attacks are free. We have the Draconic half reaction that we need, and yeah, let's see what we can do here. We'll swing in for 1. We're even floating our vigor forward. So this is 1. We're gonna play both our reacts. So right now this is a 2-card 8. Pretty sweet. Hit them, make a vigor just in case we draw a 1-cost react next turn. We'll throw the Blaze Headlong, so this is 3-card 12. And then we'll throw the last dagger. This is 3-card 15 plus 1 off of the Dynamo refresh. So 3-card 16. Pretty happy about that, and we're just gonna keep running this forward. And like I said, because we can get these crazy turns and super efficient once our weapons are free, I actually find I do a lot of blocking post Fealty just to basically stay ahead, and then I'll use them. Definitely don't need the blue, we can block with that. This is just 4 damage essentially, extra damage, and then yeah, we drew our 1-cost react, totally fine. So basically this turn I'm looking at blocking with the blue, and then if there's some kind of on hit, I don't mind blocking with this non-attack. I don't even mind blocking with the Blade Flurry. Any number of cards I keep kind of contribute to a really good turn for me. Basically just... I haven't played a Dash.io though with this deck, so see if they can do something. And coming in with the Heist here. Give them the Cerebellum Processor, which gets them a card next turn. Echo Core gives them resources for next turn. You could also block. I might do that. So this non-attack is 4 damage up front. The Blade Flurry is 4 damage spread across 2 turns. One of the other things we like to check out is just how many fealties we have. Sometimes I save attack reactions even if they aren't Draconic. I'm just gonna block. Sometimes I save non-draconic attack reactions too, if I have multiple fealties above the 3, because you can always turn something like a Blade Flurry into draconic. I will probably play the Blade Flurry just to deal a bit of damage, but I'm gonna see how they react here. If I play this. I'm wondering if I want the card on board. I'm just debating putting the Blade Flurry in Arsenal so I can use the sound effectively and have more cards to block with next turn. I think I might. Worst case scenario, we can use the 4 damage next turn, or we can. Dynamo's refresh. Yeah, Fang has been super sick. I wasn't sure about the hero looking at just the spoilers and that, but as soon as I started refining the deck and putting stuff together, awesome. So, put an item with 0 or 1 from your hand into the arena. I don't think this matters. Again, like I said, when I have 3 fealty, I try and stay ahead on life by blocking quite a bit. We have our awesome Draconic React here, which we're going to use. The Long Whisker Loyalty basically represents 3 damage, because we can go +2 and extra swing. So I don't know if that matters so much. I find I actually block this Whisker card. I think I might do that. Another heist. Okay, I'm just gonna keep blocking these heists. I have a good option here with the Deviact, and I might even just throw one of my Draconic attack reactions here too. Save the crown for some other time. I can use the Blade Flurry on my turn to push damage. So I'm gonna block 5 again. Really nice with Fang. Every card you keep, especially after you've hit 3 fealty, can help extend your turns, but I find because your numbers are so good once your weapons are free, you can kind of play a little bit more conservatively and just stay ahead of them. They can't block every turn. They're leaking damage with little chips here and there, and then eventually you put them in a position where they can't account for all the attack reactions you have, and you just see what we can do here. This might even just be. Yeah, they're just going to take it. So, yeah, I don't know that much about Mechanologist. I know there's some people in the chat that are really big on Mechanologist. Maybe you can tell me how that game went from the Dash.io perspective. But, you know, we're getting 15.5 points of value per turn. My deck is built to block really well. Might be a holdover from how much Fealty I play. Yeah, seemed to go pretty good for us. Maybe that was a weak Dash.io round. I don't really know how it works. But let's take a look at deck listing. Okay, so this is the deck. Basically, I always want to be running Grains of Bloodspill. My plan is to most turns pitch a blue, swing a dagger, play a Draconic attack reaction, swing my other dagger. And most of the reactions I have in this deck are 0 cost. So I usually have an extra resource floating around. I'm going to make Vigors off of these. You can draw all red hands. It happens quite frequently. Currently running 15 blues, which seems pretty good. Like I said, there are sometimes you get all red hands, and if I have an extra Vigor around, sometimes all I'm doing is swinging the dagger. I might even play my react without being able to swing a second time. But by playing the Draconic react, I can keep whatever fealty I have, and I'm just trying to turbo out as many fealties as I can get. We do have quite a few attack actions in this deck. The Blaze Headlongs, very nice filler. And you know what? Because the deck does block relatively well, sometimes I'm just blocking with 3 cards, and then I'll send the Blaze Headlong just as a way to keep my Fealties till a turn where I'm able to keep a bigger hand. And that's one of the nice things about Fang that I've noticed, especially compared with Dorinthia, is that you can keep your build-up turn over turn. Sometimes with Dorinthia, you might put a lot of resources into getting your counters on your Dawnblade or putting yourself in a nice position, and then your hand is just an absolute brick and you lose everything. But with Fang, all you have to do is play a Draconic card. You don't have to hit them, you don't even have to have like a super effective turn. So a lot of the time you can just sit on your 1 or 2 Fealty, wait for a good hand, and then make a big push to get the 3. Oh, Mortimer, Warmongers and Fang. Yeah, here, let's take a look at the blues I've picked. I'm curious what you guys think. I've been playing around with a couple different options. I don't know if you guys can see these, but basically my strategy with the blues was to have them be the most full in the most situations. So you'll notice almost all of them block 3. Matt pointed out one of them block. We can talk to in a little bit, but I wanted the blues to be as effective as possible, especially if I draw multiples. It doesn't happen that often, but I want them to be effective when I'm trying to gain Fealty, usually by pitching. I want them to be effective after I have Fealty as well. And so you'll notice a lot of the blues are actually attack reactions. Sometimes you do brick and you don't draw a Draconic attack reaction. So best thing you can do there, sometimes is just pop a Fealty, keep your other Fealty around, you know, swing multiple times, you still get the Dynamo's refresh, and then you're waiting until, again, you draw really, really nice hands that you can keep. I actually found the Scar Tissues to be really good. I'm running 3 at blue and 3 at red. Trying to turbo Fealty, and there isn't a ton of ways to mark your opponent, I found. So these ones, they just kind of serve double duty. Sometimes you can make them Draconic, most of the time you don't have to. They can also just help push through your other on hits. So if you're playing any of these attack reacts that mark well, these kind. Or if you're playing these and you're playing it on your first chain link, right? Like a lot of the time you might run out this Searing Gaze on the first Draconic dagger. That doesn't really help you. The extended text on here doesn't do anything. But if you can pair that with a Scar Tissue, now all of a sudden you are marking your opponent on the first dagger, and then the second dagger swing, they have to make some kind of choice if they want to give you a Fang feels kind of fatigable, which could be a problem. Yeah, it's been close. I've played against quite a few news over the last couple days. People are trying out the new Assassin cards. And yeah, there's some games where I'm at 4 cards, 10 cards. Did get fatigued once. You have to be a little bit careful with that. And I think what's important there, again, is just having your blue be useful in multiple situations. So if you pile up a whole bunch of Fealty and you're getting near the bottom of your deck and you start drawing your blues, at least this Incision allows you to go a little bit wide, you get a +1. So again, trying to make the blues multifunctional for different game states. The Sworn Vengeances have been really good for that as well. They kind of work like the Scar Tissues, but they're 3 blocks. Matt, you're playing blue overpower with your 15 blue base. Yeah, Mortimer, that's something I've ran into too. There's a lot of times where I want to either filter a hand or pitch stack a bit, and you kind of can't really. So again, that's why I've kind of landed on this strategy of just turbo out as many Fealty as I can, and then just try to have 2 to 3 really, really effective over the top turns in a row. Ideally, I'm never making it to pitch stack. Oh, you're playing Furnace and Ironsong to filter. Interesting. Yeah, I was looking at the Fabric website earlier today, and I saw that a lot of people are playing Song versus, and it's just like wild to me that people are doing that. But I guess the filtering thing. Right now I have Braveforge bracers. I would say that maybe once a game I'm activating this. It does get a little weird because for the Draconic reacts, if you want their additional text, you have to keep all your chain links. So you're usually not using bracers in the middle of your turn, but sometimes you do get like a pesky third dagger swing in or something like that. In that case, it's nice to have something to dump your extra resources into, especially after you've made all your fealties and your daggers are free. But the versus is an interesting idea. I'm gonna have to try that. I haven't really tried Furnace yet. To me, I just kind of thought if I was ever pitching that many reds, I wouldn't be particularly happy about it. And floating the Vigor tokens, especially post-Fealty, once you have free, has been really powerful for me. You just kind of keep it around, you don't spend it. And then when you do draw the hand that has only the one cost reacts in it, you can still keep your really efficient moves. Yeah, anyway, a little bit more about the deck, and then we can play another game here. So there's a couple attacks in here. Blaze Headlong, let's talk about that. Got super distracted. Oath of Loyalty has been awesome, but also the one that I've punted on the most. There's just so many ways that this card like ruins your turn a little bit. There aren't that many non-draconic actions, but you know, I always seem to draw these Savor Bloodsheds on the same turn that Out for Loyalty. But yeah, Out for Loyalty, definitely worth picking up. It's just the best card to start with. Turns on all your Draconic reacts on the first dagger, and so you're able to pump out your like a first one. So Oath of Loyalty has been good. And then the third one I have is for the Drakai. Again, if you have a great hand and you're able to go dagger, dagger, get go again, and swing this, it's an awesome chain ender. It's a block 3, so it makes us really able to switch into that sort of like mid-range set up type of strategy. And it also gets you fealty. This is the great thing, is like if your opponent is marked, sometimes you just block out, swing this as your only card, you get a fealty for free, and then they have to contend with the on hit if they've already been marked. So this card by itself can sometimes get you 2 fealty, and then it turns on your next turn. Yeah. Still playing around with the sideboard a bit. I think this deck actually only has 77 cards. So there's definitely room to play. Clearly I haven't figured out what I want to do for Arcane Barrier. It seems every kind of Arcane hero screws you in a different way. So still playing around with that. I guess the last note I would make are these pledge fealties. So I found these to be particularly effective against decks that don't let you hit very often. When you're trying to mark people and get fealties that way, if someone's got a ton of D-reacts like the assassins and whatnot, sometimes you can't get there quick enough, and then those decks tend to do better than you in the long game. So I found if I traded early damage off for just guaranteed fealty creation, sometimes that would be enough to get me online quick enough that I could kind of overrun them. You know, it looks kind of innocuous, but I found this card to actually be pretty good. More different. Okay, let's do another game. I think all the cards for Fang are coded now. Shout out to the people at Alshar that spent the last weekend just furiously coding everything. Yesterday was kind of funny, like I had attack reactions that were giving +6s to things randomly, or would just immediately end my turn when I played them, but they've done a lot of work in the last 24 hours and Seems like all the cards are working. I've been going first every single time. There hasn't been a reason for me to not do that. Like I said, I'm trying to turbo out Fealty, and sometimes you can get Fealty right away. Turn 0, or like in the last game we marked them, so... I'm just going to throw in these defense reactions. Drawing the extra card late is nice. And then these cards block. So that's what I'm putting. This deck has been really annoying. I actually think the Arachne Marionette deck is really powerful this season. The hero text, kind of crazy to me. And you're basically always marked against them because their daggers mark you. And they have piercing, so your Valiant Dynamo protect you from it. So definitely watch out for this deck. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. Plus the art on this hero is just super. Yeah, that's right, Matt. Filter, chance for fealty, etc. And like here, for example, I'm probably just going to run out this marked buff. You know, try and cheese a marked in with a firm loyalty. And we even have the blue scar tissue. This is the MVP. Maybe get in and get an extra. Again, it's not really about damage early game. For me, it's just about getting 3 fealty. I have plenty of time to deal damage to my opponent once all my attacks are... Try and get them marked here. Opponent is blocking quite a bit. So this is basically a wasted card. But then we might be able to mark them with the scar tissue on the back end. Probably not, right? They're probably likely to block us. So I think at this point I'd probably just pass. And I can save this Affirm Loyalty for next turn, and I'll also have the... They got us. Alright, we have all the reacts. Again, Scar Tissue is just kind of an extender that also marks them, so you get extra fealty. So definitely incentivized to keep this card. I already have 3 options here for how I want to get Go Again. And I think what I want to do is I want to use the Stabbing Ping to get Go Again. And then on the second dagger, I'm just going to load up both Affirm Loyalties. This is unconditional fealty, essentially. Although they are attacking with this dagger. And like I said before, once you get marked by this Arachne, you're always marked. So I might actually... I haven't figured out if that's the right strategy, but I found if I try to stay unmarked as long as I can against them, it just makes all their cards work. Okay, we're definitely getting hit by this. I never know how to use these assassin cards, but you know, we'll use dynamos. We'll make them play a card to get us, and then it doesn't really matter what they take here because it doesn't really matter what they take because if they take our Draconic card, which they probably should, we have another one waiting, and they take the blue. That's also okay because we can fuel our turn off the other 2 reds. So although our turns at the beginning are kind of inefficient, trying to build fealty. They did the smart thing. They took the Draconic Act. I think that's what you always need to do. But we have 1 win. We're also going to probably be able to mark them this turn, which is kind of like our second fealty, and we're going to be able to float a Fear token. This is looking pretty good. I usually choose where I'm going to play the Scar Tissue based on how they block. If it looks like they're going to use a D-React against me, we hold the Scar Tissue. But if they left this completely unblocked, I might run it out on the first attack. if I play this here, they de-react, we kind of get blown out, so I'm just going to pass. I'm going to take the Vigor off the 1 damage. Swing again, refresh Dynamos. And then probably just run out the Scar Tissue, unless they somehow want to fully block this. In which case I will keep it, but yeah, let's see what they got. Okay, and they have the sink below. That's fine. D-Reacts. Still good against Warriors in 2025. So right now I would describe us as just posturing with our opponents, trying to gain position where we can get the fealties. There's a little bit less pressure when you don't have any, because you're not trying to protect anything. This hand, kind of interesting, because we have an instant. I already have the Vigor, so I'm most likely to keep this instant and one of the other reds to pitch to the daggers this turn, and I'll probably block with the other. Oof, this is a big thing. Yeah, so I probably just block this fully. There's a new card for the assassins that they hit you with it and you're marked. You have to banish a card from your hand. So with the daggers, I usually figure like I'm either losing a card now to block it, or I'm losing a card later when they hit me. They happen to just block it. Doesn't really matter there. We don't have our dynamos up, and we don't have any way to mark or deal damage. So I'm probably just keeping a card this turn. Definitely gonna swing the dagger. And I might just float. Right, I want to save my resources for the turn where I draw all the cards. I'm gonna keep the tooth. This one pumps the second chain link. It gives go again to your first dagger, but then it pumps the second one. So that's kind of tricky because if they commit blocks to the first dagger, which you usually should, this one kind of gets them, and then maybe something like that Searing Gaze in our hand helps us mark a little bit easier if we have the pump on the back end. And again, we're floating that Vigor. That's helping us out a little bit because we can pitch a red and use our Vigor for our 2 swings. So here I need a card to pitch, and I would like to start getting marks or fealties up. I have my Draconic instant to give my first dagger go again. And then these other 2 cards are just kind of hanging out here. They both cost 1. So I'm most likely to block with these or try and arsenal one of them. I think I just let this. Presumably they have some. They're going to draw a card. I mean, most of our deck is red, but I'd rather wait and see and try and block something like a fraction. Something that targets that arsenal. Oh, they're just going to pump it up. Okay. We just take a bunch of damage here then. It's interesting that they didn't swing a dagger first. Maybe they had some other plan. I'll have go again. Okay, so we actually got to keep our whole hand there. That's kind of weird. But that means we can go ahead and swing in. So plan here is to use the Tooth of the Dragon on the first chain link hit go again. If they don't really block, we'll play the Blade Flurry. If they do block the first chain link, I'm on this out. And then what this does is it gives us an option for the second chain link. We're going to be able to get some unconditional fealty off the Ear Devotion. That's kind of the plan. We might even be able to mark them as well. Let's see. Trying to get one fealty for sure, and probably a mark on. They aren't blocking. Definitely play Tooth here. And then I need a pitch card for the Dagger, and I need a pitch card for Devotion. I think I'll run out the Blade Flurry rather than pulling it, because it's a 17. Just blow up your arsenal. That's rude. Okay. So yeah, we have to wait till the second chain link to play these types of reacts. We're not going to be able to push this. And I don't really care if this one hits. The big thing for this is just getting guaranteed fealty. But you can see here that we're just going to end up on a death. Right, we caught back up on life. We have our first fealty. And yeah, we have an interesting hand. So the Oath of Loyalty is going to keep our fealty around. I kind of wish these were all 3 blocks, but that's okay. Ooh. Again, I never know how to block these cards properly. I think whatever you try to do, you're usually wrong, unless you have some kind of deep gap help play around it. So I'm just gonna block with the Dynamos. I'm gonna let them hit me. Or that's what I would do, but I have 3 scar tissues in my hand, so maybe I'm supposed to. Because if they hit me and they take all 3, That's interesting. They don't have as many onboard reacts, but I think they can always do Flick Knives. Did they get to 3 reactions? Hey, what's going on, Ian? Thanks for joining. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this. If they hit us and they take all the scar tissues, that's okay, because we can run out the Oath of Loyalty. The other thing is we only have 1 fealty. If they kill it, that sucks, but... Okay, this is a very reaction-heavy Arachne. I actually haven't seen one of these before. This is... Oh my goodness, stop. Stop, you're killing me. Okay, so they definitely hit us. They take both the scar tissues, but we get to keep our fealty because we'll just run out the Oath of Loyalty. Feel like we're gonna lose this game. I just don't have the D-reacts in this deck. Back reactions, and of course their on hits are way better. See what we can do. It's still not bad yet, but we're gonna have to catch up here. A little bit unfortunate that we had 3 of the same card in that hand, and then they're gonna mark this. But I need to play the Draconic card and try and keep it. Okay. Yeah, Oath of Loyalty, here we go. So all this is doing is keeping the fealty around. It is 4 damage, which is nice too. They probably don't want to throw a D-react at this. It's just vanilla. Might get a card from them. Yeah, keep it close. I do think we're gonna have issues if we get under 10 life. We did draw a pretty good hand though. We have our Draconic React to get our go again. We have an extender in the middle here. Then we have our pitch cards. They're both block 3s, so we can also block with one of these. At this point, because I'm already marked, I don't care about this anymore. Once you're marked, you're always... What is this thing? Okay, if we get hit by one of their stealth attacks, we have to banish a card. This is the meanest one of all the demi-heroes I've seen. This seems... What did they do? Okay, so this is just damage. Doesn't have to. This is the one, if you're marked and they hit you, you have to banish a card. Now, I assume they're going to hit, right? They've played attack reactions every turn so far. So what do? Do we block 2 cards and just get hit? Do we make them have it? And they kept a whole bunch of cards here, so I assume they have some kind of pump. Kind of need something to happen here, so I'm gonna risk this and see if dodge attacks this turn. Try and move back in for some. Right, they keep playing these 1-for-3 reacts with hits. I'm just hoping they don't have. Oh, does this have stealth? Yeah. Okay, they're using boots. I just don't want to lose my hand. Okay, and then the Codex. Yeah. Yeah, Codex still good. Actually been super effective against us. The 2 damage isn't that big a deal, but at the point where I'm already low on cards, that is the deal. We'll take a Draconic attack. We're going to lose everything anyway. They pulled out the Mark of the Black Widow. We're going to lose everything anyway, so I'm just going to keep the 3 block. And then again, I'm going to send the Oath of Loyalty to Fealty. And hopefully next time these are definitely the games that I've lost the most, is when I get kind of handicapped on Fealty at the beginning and then I can't get my turns rolling. And this is a matchup that maybe I would consider bringing those extra instants that just produce Fealty on their own. Take out some of the 3 blocks and just get the guarantee. This card seems really good, getting to rebuy the daggers, and that's I've seen people playing this, obviously right now, but also in the single decks. Now we have real damage to contend with. And we, oh, look, yeah, so we don't have a Draconic React here. So this is where the second mode on all these cards comes in. We're just going to block a whole bunch, and then we're going to send this as a fork pack. We're going to keep our Fealty, and we're going to keep fighting. Start. They don't have any follow-up to this. I want to keep the glory out of everything else. Blocking. Yeah, and then we just send our Draconic attack. Again, we're not taking damage. We're keeping our Fealty around. And if our hand was a little bit better, that might have been a turn where I threw some armor to try and come back and build up my Fealties. But because we missed on having Draconic React, we just go into a little bit of a turtle. See if we can come back to this. Our deck is still pretty healthy, 34 cards, so It's likely that if they miss on another turn, we could get something going. But yeah, it's interesting. They're playing like all the 1-cost reacts, but then also all the deacts. And turn to turn, I don't know. This one targets Arson. So I might just have to block with the crown here. Yeah, they're gonna load up a big attack. Kind of at instant speed, they can decide if they want to blow up the arsenal. So, you know, Blade Flurry, see you later. We're gonna ship that with the crown. And we're probably going to block with our Sworn Vengeance. It's a 3-block. We actually drew enough here to have go again and to get a second fealty guaranteed, so that's pretty nice. There's also a case to be made for keeping the Sworn Vengeance to try and get a mark. Fealty. Just block with a bunch of armor. And then they can react over and deal 2 to us. Yeah, I might do that. So I'm gonna throw the armor in here. I'm gonna try and have this be my big turn where I set up my 3 fealty. We're even gonna be able to backload the second dagger. Ooh, and we have Favor Bloodshed, which could end up drawing us a card as part of this turn. So this might actually be okay if all they do is us. This is a little spoopy. Like like I said, I don't really want to be less than 10, especially against this reaction heavy deck. But we're going to be able to get pretty close to hitting our 3 fealty this turn. And we do have a lot of damage in our hand. So now I do want the Endear Devotion to give me a fealty. So I'm not going to be breaking the chain at any point in time. That means I'm just going to play all my non-attacks right away. Sworn Vengeance. Hopefully it hit. Our first dagger hits, gives us the mark. And then the Savor Bloodshed, we'll see that for the second dagger, and we might actually get the draw. So the patience paid off. This hand looks really good. We're going to finish the turn with at least 2 fealty, if not a third, from marking them. We're buying some blocks. That's the other thing here is like if they start committing to blocking us a whole bunch. So we're gonna end up marking them. Oh no, we're not gonna mark. Put that on them. That's okay. So we'll go to 2 fealty. They used a whole bunch of cards. We're gonna use half of our hand to block with, and then the other half we're gonna try and keep this train going. Try and get our 3rd fealty, and then once we're there, we should be able to. Okay. Codex isn't that bad, especially as the only card. We do have good armor, and then we can also grab a starter. It doesn't matter that much this turn, but there's a lot of turns where, you know, my opponent will Codex, I'll get the Oath of Loyalty, and then that actually turns on one of my 0-cost reacts, because you can run out Oath of Loyalty and then play a Firm Loyalty, and you get a fealty off of a single dagger swing, and then your second dagger swing is free after that. You really only need resources for the start of the turn. What did they pick? Mark of the Black Widow. So we can just cover this up with a 3-block. Actually, we aren't even marked, really. That's interesting. Because we're not at 3 fealty yet, I'm going to definitely block with the end. Where's our react? What are we even doing with this? I love it. If we had a 0-cost react, this would be a lot better. But I think what we need to do is... we can't oath it. So. Okay. And everything blocks... We're going to play Oath. And then we're probably just going to run it into for the Drakai. So that's going to be a 2-card 8. And we'll save the Stabbing Pain and Arsenal. So let's get rid of this. We'll block with the Hunt's End because we don't have 3 fealty anyway. We'll do a 2-card 8. We'll keep our react for next turn. And that way we also keep our dynamos. We're not gonna click us and mark us. Let's get the +1. Okay. So we have to banish a card essentially. We'll just get rid of our react. And again, we'll 2-card 8. Try and claw some life back here. 2-card 7, I guess. And like I was saying during sort of the deck review part, this is a nice thing about Fang is all you have to do is play these Draconic cards to keep your Fealty. So you can kind of build up the Fealty throughout the game. It doesn't have to be, you know, every single turn, no bricks allowed, like playing Draconic or something. So we're just going to send our cards. We're going to keep the 2 Fealty we have. We'll bide our time. We'll try and pick a good spot. I do think we're way behind, but our deck blocks well. And we work really well off of 2-card hands. So it's okay for us to jostle for 2. I'm going to go 3 into 4. Hope to draw some cards out of their hand. Opponent has shown a lot of reactions, but they probably also have a bunch of deals. So they might have some hands that are less effective on offense. We're just biding our time, hoping to score. Okay, so we have a D react, so we can get a little bit, I don't know, interesting with our stuff. We do have only 1 Draconic card in our hand. Basically means we have to play this if we want to keep the Fealty, and this is going to cost us resources plus a dagger swing. So I think we have to keep the blue, we have to keep the drop, and that gives us 6 points of block, plus dynamos if we really need it. Now they could probably just kill us from any card is a +3, plus a react. So we have to expect they can go to 9. I might have to just walk some more. Hope to refresh the dynamo. Hopefully it's just this one attack, right? Hopefully they just send this. This is the light claw. Okay, here's our first +3. So we're currently taking 5 + 1 is 6. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Okay, so we're definitely dead. Because this Tarantula Toxin, it actually gets both modes on Kiss of Death, because this has a subtype as Dagger. So they were able to simultaneously pump this by 3 and reduce our defense by 3. That's crazy. I mean, I guess it's 2 Majestics from the same set. It makes sense. Yeah, so we're taking 9 right now. We can block a little bit. We're still taking 6, so we're dead. I'm just gonna play this drop and see if I draw another D-React. It's not very likely. There's only 2 other ones in the deck. Never mind. We're gonna end up probably losing our fealties, but we are gonna draw a card. So if we draw exactly a Draconic attack action here, we can keep our fealties and stay in this game. That's really funny. I don't really want to do. No, they probably have something here, right? Oh yeah, the flick knives. My bad. Anyway, that was really funny at the end there. You can kind of see how we got behind because we didn't get our fealties right out of the gate. They were playing. I think we just drew kind of poorly, and I don't really like using that as an excuse, but I feel like we had sort of the three scar tissue hand exactly when they played Bonds of Agony, so they were able to rip cards from us. We had a couple all red hands, that kind of stuff. So that might be a matchup that I try to get these Pledge of Fealties into. Again, the early damage probably not as good as getting Fealty and trying to be as we can and getting it online right away. Ian, yeah, Fang's been feeling awesome. It's been super fun. It's a little bit of a puzzle trying to figure out what should be in the deck, how to sequence things. I really like this deck because although the game plan can be pretty straightforward, like pitch a blue, swing a dagger, Draconic React, swing your other dagger, build Fealty, that kind of stuff. Hand to hand has been really interesting, and just, yeah, trying to figure out the best line for everything. You would have seen it in that game too. Classic Warrior stuff. We draw 4 cards. Some of them are power cards or M's, and we end up just blocking with them. You know, block with 3 cards, swing an attack for 4, but keep our Fealty in place. And then we look for our spots to try and go for the top, get our Fealties, and then once we have our 3 Fealties, we try to outpace people. Yeah, it's been pretty good. I'm gonna run another game here. If anyone has questions about the deck, I did post the link in the description, so hopefully you've been able to see that. If you have questions about specific cards, let me know. Yeah, Matt, I'm just seeing now your comment about Scar Tissue. Yeah, Scar Tissue was hilarious. So yesterday, you would play this, you wouldn't get the mark effect, but it would give +6 to your dagger, which is just hilarious. Like, you're attacking for 1, and then all of a sudden it's 7. Of course, like, you can go into manual mode, just the health values and stuff, but it was just, yeah, it was just kind of funny. Like, you don't get the secondary text, but we're gonna double hump. Ian, yeah, so getting 3 Fealty in CC, it's really a sideboarding thing. If you're racing against someone, kind of like we did with the Dash.io in the first game, it's really easy to. Between the cards that just straight up give you Fealty, like this Endear Devotion, and then the cards we've chosen to put in the list that mark our opponent. If the opponent's not blocking well, you get 3 Fealty, sometimes on turn 1, honestly. If you go first, you get a Fealty, you get a mark, turn 0. Turn 1, like your real turn 1, sometimes you can hit 3 Fealty and then you just have it the whole game. I'm finding it's usually turn 2 or 3 in a ring. In the scenarios where my opponent is blocking a lot, it's a little bit tougher. You kind of have to bide your time, and like I said, bring in this Pledge of Fealty, it does seem to help quite a bit. The early damage doesn't matter as much, it's just getting the Fealty. Let's do another one. Around. Or if somebody from the chat wants it, you're more than welcome. Let me know in the comments. We can play against each other. I'll just hang out here for a minute. Matt, you're saying your win rate going first is way higher. Yeah, I'm curious about that. We got a pretty nice win rate. It looks about the same for me. I'm going first most of the time, I think, because most opponents will put you first, and then I'm also choosing first, so it just looks like most of my games I'm going first. Yeah, this is what's been happening. I've been playing against a lot of new people, obviously, who are trying out Syndra, especially. There's a ton of Syndras. I've lost a couple times to this Arachne Marionette, so maybe I should be trying that other strategy. Please swap in it since I get Fealty. I haven't played in it yet. I joined this game and the opponent was kind of difficult to interact with, so I just ended up exiting that one. I'm curious how the new M makes damage unpreventable does in this deck. It does cost 1, and it's not Draconic, so I feel like it's going to be kind of clunky to use. We'll see. Oh, Ian, you're working on some art right now? What are you doing? We always go first. And Syndra is one of the heroes that we can use the new headpiece on. So we have this nice Kabuto helmet that when you block with it, they can't use weapons. And there's a couple times you want to do this. If they play Spreading Flames, that pumps up all their chain links that turn. If it looks like they're going to swing at you times. And then there's also the legendary that lets them attack with daggers extra, free and stuff. Those are times to use that. Against Syndra, she's not going to block that much, so we just throw in our normal block 3s. This Mark card is going to help us. This Horn Vengeance is going to help us get to Fealty quicker. And then these D-Reacts have been awesome. Just to draw a card late, you know, help defend while you're setting up, and then draw a card late. Okay, so this is a perfect example. We're going to play a little weird, but we're going to start the game with a Fealty. So we're going to go Oath of Loyalty, we're going to pitch to swing, and we're going to buff it up to get a Fealty right away. And then we're probably arsenaling this other Oath of Loyalty. Obviously we can't play both, and Oath of Loyalty is the best starter, I think, that you can use. Come in, we might poke in for damage. And again, I don't really care about the damage right now. What I'm trying to do is build Fealty quickly, and because our dagger is the second chain link, we get a free Fealty here, we get a little bit of damage. I'm not going to take the bigger. The Syndras haven't really been playing CNC, and if they do, we have so many trees. Probably not that big a deal, but look at that. Turn 0, we have a Fealty, and then we're just going to keep running this forward. So we actually have what I would consider one of the best Fang hands. So we have our blue to pitch. We have a 0-cost Draconic card. We get to go again. We have something that's going to mark our opponent and give our second dagger go again. And then we have for the Drakai, which is going to give us a free Fealty and threaten the third Fealty. So again, this is what I was talking about before. Our turn 1, our real turn 1, we might be online. Against the Kunais, I've been blocking the first one with Dynamo, because they kind of want to use the flick knives to keep the chain links, like the on-hit chain links, but if they have to use it on the first turn, they have to get rid of it. So I don't know, again, I don't know if that's best, but I found that earlier I used Dynamo, the less likely they are to get the Mask and Momentum triggered. You're gonna get a Fealty. I don't care. This is just damage, right? My hand is so good. I want to use every single card here. I want to get my Fealties online. So short of Disruption, I'm probably taking everything, and I'm probably letting the Mask through. Third, their second hit. This will be their third hit. Yeah, so they're gonna get the draw, and I honestly I don't care. Once we have Fealty on, we're so efficient. And like on rate or over rate, I'm okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so perfect Fang turn. This isn't that rare, but this is exactly what I want. So again, we're gonna start with Oath of Loyalty because it's a nice starter. Probably don't even really need to play it here, but just extending our hand, doing some damage. We have an entire Draconic hand, so the liability. Saving this for next turn and then not having, or having some non-Draconic cards is a little bit high, so I'm just going to run this out. It's vanilla, they'll probably end up taking it. If they do, doesn't matter. Okay, now the real turn starts. So we're going to attack. Because this is already the second chain link, we might be able to mark them now. but I'm not going to do that. What I want to do is I want to mark them after, like with my second dagger, so that the mark is still up by the time I play for the Drakai, because this could get us to Fealty. So we play the Tooth of the Dragon first, give us our go again. We don't have any extra resources this turn, so we're not going to be pitching into green. Now we swing the second dagger. I'm going to mark them with Stabbing Pain. This is going to give our dagger go again. And then for the Drakai is going to create a Fealty by itself. And if it hits, we'll get a third Fealty. This is our first official turn. We have 3 Fealty and the opponent's at 20. Like, this is just amazing. And now look, this is a really good game so far. I would say they're mostly not like this, but you know, we have our Draconic reaction. It's a 0 cost. We have 2 extenders in our hand. And we have a block 3 that we're going to run into the most annoying card that they send at us. Whatever that's going to be. This is just damage. I don't care about that. They have a pretty big turn setup, so this is a turn that I might consider using though. But I want to see them commit to trying to buff up their dagger somehow before I use it. I found, you know, if I ran it out now, I'm probably saving 2 + 4. But yeah, here's the Spreading Flames. Perfect. So this is exactly the turn that we want to use our Kabuto. Spreading Flames is going to buff up all their dagger attacks, and we're just going to stump that by saying, you can't attack us this turn with daggers. There's no need to throw the Dynamo because they probably have an attack after this. And if it's something with an on hit, I want to breakpoint. And remember, we also have this blue that we want to use as defense. So we just have a ton of defense, and then we're going to have a huge turn. This is link to hit. So we'll block this one so they can't draw off mask. And then that's just damage, but it might be the last card they play. I'll use Dynamo here. Okay, so we have 3 cards, and we have everything we need. Let's count it up. We're going to play Hunsen. This is going to be dagger for 6. Oh my goodness. Man, we're doing so good. Okay, well the opponent just conceded, but what would it have been? So dagger plus this is 6, 10, 14. This dagger swing is free, 15, plus 1, 16. So this would be a 3-card 16 on offense. And we also blocked for 3. So that's a 4-card 19. It's like, sweet, right? That was probably one of the grossest starts I've seen for Fang, but it's exactly what we talked about in between the break. Right? If you can go first, get a Fealty turn 0, and you know what, maybe even mark your opponent or something like that. It's not uncommon to get the Fealties, 3 Fealties turn, and then your turn's just good. I would say that's probably the fastest game I've had. And it's not that we had won there, it's just at that point we're outvaluing it so much that they probably lose pretty quick after that. But they don't all go that way, but I would say, you know, maybe one or 2 turns later I would usually expect to be in that position against another aggro deck. Yeah, I think it was the that's right, Ian, the Kabuto. This card's been great. Depending on how prevalent Warrior, Ninja, these classes are going to be, could be good, maybe not, but this is definitely one I'm expecting to pick up right away. So. Yeah, just live stream. Okay. I think I'll do one more game. And yeah, if anyone has questions about the deck list in the meantime, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'll answer them at the end, and then I'll sign off after that. But I'm also not used to streaming. I used to do it a couple years ago. Magic and I'd stream like drafts and stuff, but I definitely cannot split my brain to like play the game and walk at the same time functionally. Like, I'm sure I sound half drunk or something. But if you leave comments in chat or on the YouTube video or whatever, I will get back to you about them. If you want to just chat about something, you can find me in Discord. So this will be good. I have been beating the news. They're really close games. And this is where I'm going to bring in my 3D reacts, but I'm also going to bring in these pledge fealties. The news are sometimes hard to hit because they block well, they disrupt you, and they have D-reacts. So I'm probably going to need these to build my fealty and to try and race them, because you can definitely get fatigued by new. The games I've won, like I said before, I've been at like 10 cards, 8 cards left in deck. So what's the plan here? We definitely have some resources to work with. The Long Whisker Loyalty is mostly a block card, I found, but here I'm going to try and mark my opponent with this. And I'm probably going to try and mark them with this Sworn. Well, no, I guess this would be. Like, we're going to run out the Sworn Vengeance and see if our attack reactions can help us mark. So between this one, which gives +2, and this Blade of Glory giving +2, we'll see if we can hit them with the Sworn Vengeance. Okay, so they're loading this up. We're definitely not... Well, we could hit them, right? We could go +2, +2, +1. We go to 7, and we would get the mark and the second hit. So yeah, I think I am gonna do this. Again, we waste a bunch of attack value, but it's more about getting the marks and the keys online as soon as possible. And we even get just a setup turn, and then they can decide. You know what, they're probably gonna block this, but the mark stays, right? So, oh, they have a non-blocking hit. Erase Face is really good against us. I found it pretty easy to block because it's just 6, but it is something we need to pay attention to. So I tend to hold my blocking cards until whenever the last chain link is, because I definitely don't want to get hit by this. It just hard destroys your and all the setup that we knew they had a non-block. Maybe they have something that gives us go again. Our turn, we have our Draconic React. We have the blues we need. We have an extender, so I really want to block for 3. I want to block with my dynamos. And I don't want to lose my hand and have it ripped apart. So I'm just going to block the dynamo here. Actually, this doesn't even matter. We don't care about this. We don't care if they hit us with this. If they had swung with their Draconic Mistblade, I'd probably block it with the dynamos, but I really don't care about them banishing cards from my deck. I need to keep cards in my hand. And then they correctly realize we're trying to keep cards in hand. Oh yeah. I'm also debating taking Provoke out against you, because when they triple provoke you after they've transcended, it's... But then I don't know if I want to run extra blues in my sideboard. I don't really want to go down below 15, so if new is really big in the meta, it might be a reason to run provoke at all. Like, that in itself is enough liability. Hey Ian, I see your Dory question. Yeah, I'm gonna answer that at the end of the video. Because I think that's it. And I love talking about it. Okay, so we play a react. This is all just scripted. We let it hit. We're gonna have extra resources this turn. So anytime we hit, and we can make a vigor. This is also a turn where if we have extra resources, we could use Brave Forge Bracers, because we're not worried about playing a certain number of chain links without react. But you know, our first attack, we're not going to be able to do any of that. If this was a 0 cost buff or react, I might consider putting it in Arsenal and not swinging with the second dagger here, because we don't have to refresh Dynamos. But I'm going to see if I can get it. And Provoke, I don't really care that much about having it in the Arsenal. Then we buy some equipment from it. We also don't really want to Arsenal against Assassins in general because of things like Leave No Witnesses. This hand's great. Look at this. This is exactly the same busted hand we had in the last game. React into Marked React into Instant Fealty. If all they do is Leave No Witnesses this turn, I am so happy. They kept an extra card, so maybe they have another React. But unlike Dorinthia, who has to always be tracking opponents' Reacts, Fang doesn't have to do that. All we're tracking is turn to turn how much we can improve. And we might end up with all 3 this turn. Another reason I like the Tooth of the Dragon. So we might get the fealty from this first hit, and then this is gonna buff the second dagger that we're then gonna buff with the stabbing pain to mark. So we're more likely to be able to mark. No vigors this turn. So we're gonna mark them with stabbing pain, and then that mark is gonna fuel our For the Drakai, which will give us a second fealty for sure, and then the opponent's gonna be marked. So at some point we're getting our third fealty, assuming they don't double sync below. Oh, they do double sync below. Okay, that's too bad. So we don't get the fealties. That's really, really annoying. But we'll still run this out for 4 damage. That was really good coverage by the opponent, because if that attack hit, that's one of the ways that you can definitely overpower you, just by getting that fealty. Whatever we are on turn 2. We go back to it. Pledge of Fealty is going to be really good here. You can see on that last turn with the sync below, it's sometimes tough to punch through. But this is going to give us a fealty. And actually, Endear Devotion on our second chain link, our second dagger, will give us our third fealty, so we'll be online. And then from there, we just go to town. So I'm basically not blocking if I don't have to this turn. If they throw something that's hand disruptive, I'll either use the Hunt's End as a blocking card, because it blocks 3, or I'll just block with Armor. They did use the Scale Peeler there, so yeah, they're going to be a little bit annoying here, but they have no resources left. Don't think they can pump the Surgical Extraction. So we'll go a little bit armor inefficient to keep our hand, and then we should be able to get up all 3 on our turn. Deck is still pretty healthy, and from this point we should be, as long as we can keep the fealties, we'll be pretty efficient. So first chain link, pledge fealty, get a fealty. We do have to keep all our resources turned, so we're not going to make bigger. Then we swing the second dagger. This hero is really weird. Every other hero I've ever played in Flesh and Blood, I'm always counting up like points of value in my hand. How much am I doing on attack? How much am I doing? But with Fang, I don't even care. All I'm counting is how many fealties I have. At the point I have fealty, then I start looking at numbers. But before that, it's just like, how do I get fealty? That's all I care about with this. Oh, Jacob, yeah, you're comparing Kabuto to Traverse. Yeah, when you put them next to each other, yeah, I think Traverse is super powerful. But specifically in these, like, draconic battles between Fang and Syndra, the Kabuto's been really good. And like Fang against Fang, if Fang ends up being good and there's a sort of mirror match quality going on, knowing when to use the Kabuto and like how to play around it, I think is gonna be really cool. Okay, Fealty's up. This is vanilla damage. We have a Draconic React. We have another Draconic React that can give us some marking and maybe like some extra damage. We have a card that goes in the middle. This card, absolutely useless. We don't need this anymore. We don't need our blues. So we have 3 block blues that we can use to prevent damage. We're going to take the vanilla. Now we're going to start to count how much value we get from these. DNC, who cares? Well, I'm still going to block 4 on this. So our hand gives us 3 points of block. The 1 off the dynamos is 4. And now we're swinging. I like collecting a little extra fealty if I can. So you're going to see I end up using Long Whisker Loyalty a lot on the first chain link. Even though it gets like these multiple modes and stuff, if you wait longer, I'd rather just take the guaranteed fealty from the Affirm Loyalty. Having a 4th fealty feels really nice because it's a little bit of insurance. If you draw a hand of all non-Draconic cards, you can just turn one of them into your Draconic card. Like if you get 3 non-attacks and then a Blade Flurry, you can still keep your fealty buffs. So, I'm definitely running this out, getting that 4th fealty. And this is the thing. There might be turns where we don't even have to attack with daggers, right? We have our fealties. As long as we attack with something Draconic, we don't have to attack with daggers and we get to keep our buffs. And that's just, it's so refreshing after playing Dorinthia for so long. Like if you play Dory and you send a CNC, you lose all your Dawnblade counters. But Fang, you send, you know, this Oath of Loyalty by itself, we get to keep our fealty. Okay, Persuasive Prognosis. I never know how to block these. They're gonna get a card, so we're gonna banish a red. They're gonna get something from us. Every single card in our hand works by itself. I don't really care what they take. I assume we're gonna get something. I'll just throw the dynamo. Make sure we get the dynamo value. They're gonna go above it. Yeah, just an egg. Haha, 0.5. King of Go again. All I need to do is keep a single card. Because we have extra fealties and our daggers are free, all we need is 1 card in our hand when the smoke settles. We'll get to keep the fealties, we'll get to swing probably twice. Right? We have a couple reacts here. But at this point, like anything that's just damage, okay, they took the oath of loyalty. That's smart. And then they codexed. So we're gonna lose another card. We just take the extender. Oh, pro tip. If you have an Oath of Loyalty in your hand and your opponent codexes, don't take a second Oath of Loyalty from the graveyard. You cannot play both. To see it. What did they pull? Leave no witnesses. We want to keep a react. One's better than this one. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my armor for something else. So I'm going to block the leave no witnesses with this card from hand. And oh, I don't have time. Okay, we're gonna have to use break. Just check that they can't. Housing wave, yeah. So I showed you guys this in the dash match, but even after I have the fealty, I'm not just all gas. I'm still being a little bit methodical. I'm blocking where it makes sense. The goal is to keep the fealty and keep any card you can, but not at the expense of playing bad, like throwing armor at something. Like I'll save this crown for something else. Time, because we can still go dagger, blade flurry, blaze headlong, dagger. Frailty is kind of a... This is 3 damage. 4 into 2. So this is a 10-point turn off of 2 cards. Seems pretty good. And we still have 3 fealty because we were able to net that one before. Surgical extraction, pretty good into us. And I feel like they are going to try and react on this. Hand is great. If they steal 1 card from us, doesn't matter. We have so many draconic things going on, that's fine. I am going to... I think I'm going to block. I don't want to block 5 on this with the Oath of Loyalty. I just see what... I don't need the scar tissue. Well, maybe I block 5. Maybe I just block 5 from him. And then I'll save my armor. Yeah, this is pretty common too. Block 5 from hand, see what happens. I'll save my armor in case they try and get a second card here. They're gonna banish a card. I really hope they don't hit. Trouble. I want to banish. Is 2 damage, is 3 damage? Don't hit me. No! Oh no, our fealties! Okay, so now we're screwed. Yeah, that sucks. Oh man. So we knew they had something big because they kept a big hand and then sent surgical. So we are... Look, we lost it all. If I wasn't talking to all of you, maybe I would have gone with my first instinct and used a bit of armor there. Because we blocked with 2 cards instead of armor, it made us less resilient to like the multiple reacts and that kind of stuff. We can still swing, yay, but we've lost all of our fuel. So I think in hindsight, because of the threat to lose so many cards, the surgical and stuff, I probably would have opted for at least 1 set of armor block, maybe kept the card in hand. And that way, if they do that same play, we still have 1 card to swing back. I think I just kind of caught up in the streaming part. But so we rebuild. This is what we do. We rebuild. Just checking to see what I have for DX. Then I have no fealty. I got nothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to block out. We're going to put this D-React in our arsenal. I'm probably going to use this Relentless Pursuit to mark my opponent. Again, just start rebuilding fealty. So I'm going to block 6 here. D-React to the arsenal. I'm going to mark my opponent and pass. And yeah, start to build up fealty again. That's really rough. I feel like we had everything. We were on top of the world. Got distracted. That happens. They're gonna go off here. Go off here. Got 1 more. Got another one. Ooh, +4. But they didn't pitch a blue. Okay, so we stuffed them with the D. Yeah. And then yeah, our turn is to mark them and pass. Start to build up that fealty equity again. And we're going to be able to do it. Again, I don't want to block if I can help it. We have to start pitching again. Peasants. We're going to keep our blue. We have our first react, and then we have a second react that will give us a guaranteed fealty because it'll be a second chain link. And we have a scar tissue to remark them. So it's possible that we actually finish our next turn with 2 fealty and a mark. There might be a way to get fancy and actually end up with 3 fealty after that, but I'm just hoping that their turn is kind of innocuous. All we did was mark them. Maybe they got caught with extra D-reacts or something. But yeah, I'm hoping to keep all of these cards. I'm blocking with Dynamos for sure. If there's like some weird breakpoint where it makes sense to block 2s, I will, but if all they threaten is to banish cards off the top of my deck, I'm still okay. We can still come back from this. We're probably going to get masked. Let's have another go. Have to have another. Or just a big pop. I'm assuming they have a hiss. But again, I'm not blocking from hand unless I really have to. So I'll just eat whatever they Leather, and then surgical. Oh, Codex, yeah. Okay. Hey, that's actually okay. Because we'll block out the whatever they get, and then we get to upgrade one of our reactions into both of loyalty, which will push Chainlink Sire, so we can get a couple more marks and stuff out. Oh, Erase Face is a good choice. We're definitely taking the starter. We're getting rid of a card, and then we're blocking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're blocking with another card. I keep the Affirm Loyalty because it's guaranteed fealty. I'm going to discard one of these, and I'm going to block. No shenanigans here, it's just 6. We have to block with a card anyway. We'll block with the Steering Gate. Need another 4. I want to block with the Dynamo anyway. But we have to block this. Do we? Oh, actually, hold on a second. How bad is it? Yeah. Because we don't have any fealty, I kind of don't know about this. Maybe I just block with cards from. They are at 19 life, and we're only at 20 cards left. I think. Yeah, I think we. If we don't attack them here and build fealty, we might be. I think we do. I'm just blocking with the Dynamos. Yeah, we're no very far behind. We were on top of the world, and it came crumbling down. But hey, we can recover from this, and we might even get to build a. We definitely get a fealty here. Get a vigor, and then we swing again. Fresh dynamos. You know, it's an attack for 0, but that'll happen sometimes. We're on 2 fealty. We can get a 3rd off pledge fealty, so we're back. We are back, and we have a long whisker loyalty to give us go again. You know, maybe I'm blocking with this relentless pursuit this turn. Looks like our opponent has a similar hand as last time, where they reacted and just ruined our lives. I think we have to let them do that. So if I block 4, and they react, make us banish, we have a vigor, so regardless of what card they leave us with, except this one. I'm just just trying to think how I can keep my fealties if they make me get rid of 2 cards. Because if they get to choose 2 cards, I think we're still okay. They don't get to pick both. And if they make us banish, we'll get rid of the stabbing. The venomous bite might also just die. Ooh, okay. We can make our 3rd vigor, guaranteed. Our 3rd fealty. And then regardless of which card they take, we're going to have go again because we have the vigor to pay for this one. So I think we're actually okay. Unless their last card is a transcend card and they make us banish our other card. Okay, this. They get to pick. I don't care which one they have. I just need to keep a Draconic card. Use around. This game is very far from us winning it at this point, but the key to winning, we need to keep. And then they took the marked card. That's, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But that means we can float our vigor forward. We swing. See what happens. I really like this deck because sometimes you can play off of these like 1 card hands, which is awesome. None of these other effects do. So we'll just go in there. Make our vigor. Next turn. And for 1, refresh the dynamos. And we're back to the block and try to be efficient phase. We do have another D-React, but I think they got rid of... Well, they got rid of 1 of them. So we actually have a second one. We might even be able to block 3 and then draw an extra card next turn, which is great. We have a Hunt's End, which fuels our turn for go-agains. We can get an extra fealty off of this, and we can probably block with the Scar Tissue. So this turn actually looks pretty good. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 block, but only if this does. Probably not blocking with boots. Can they pump up this dagger? Do you think they're just gonna kill us with a attack reaction? Misplay. I think I have to block this one. At least we don't have any provokes in the banish zone. I'll block with the Scar Tissue here. Just erase face. That's okay though, because we can block 6 against the Hunt's End and the Loyalty Beyond the Grave. So again, erase face. We want to save cards to block the erase face, but it's relatively easy to block. And then sometimes I hold these until I have a turn where I really want to use them, but against you, I'm just gonna activate this ability as soon as you can, while you have it. And yeah, we'll probably end up saving one of these for attack, react, attack. Maybe we just make a vigor off of the other devotion. Save this for a future turn. We are getting pretty far down in our deck, so as efficient as we can be, resources and everything else, we should try to be. Okay, so we survived that last turn because of our D-React, but I think we're going to have a little bit of a tough time. We have a Draconic React. We have the Savor Bloodshed, which is nice. I feel like this for the Drakai is going to be fucked with. And we have a second Savor Bloodshed. So let's see what we can keep, but we could technically block 9 and keep going here. They're coming in for 5. I don't think they can pump this. Don't really want to go to 1 damage or 1 life. If I wasn't streaming, trying to narrate this, I would probably know better if they're able to pump the looking for the scrap. But I think I want to keep my 3 blocks just for some. It might be. Oh, they can, right? The grain that tips the scales. I don't know if they play. So, what do we do? I think we just hope they. No. Okay. Yeah. So if I was playing an actual game, I probably would have tracked that a little bit better. Anyway, that's just heartening because I feel like if we had blocked 6 there, maybe we could have won that game. But anyway, that was tons of fun. This is Fang. I would say that the deck is definitely powerful. My deck and my skills playing it are no way. There's no way that they are polished or like close to what the deck can do. But you know, against just other people that are messing around on Talisher, seems to be great. And yeah, I've been really happy with it. It's super fun to play. Even if the deck doesn't end up being top tier, I feel like the amount of fun I'm having with it makes it worth playing. Like most warriors, and the card art is really cool. I will finish up pretty quick here. Ian, you had a question about. We're just asking about gold. So I'm gonna quickly look at cards that might go in Dorinthia from the new sets. If you're interested in that, you can hang out. These challenges. But otherwise. Yeah, thanks everyone who tuned into the stream. Super fun. Might stream a little bit, try and get better at it. Better at the whole talking, playing thing. Yeah, let's see. Now, is there a way? Oh, legal in. Let's see. Okay. So, do any of these cards work in Dorinthia? Definitely Jagged Edge is going to be one that I want to pick up. The Chorus of Iron Song, the yellow that we've been using to try and hit angels and things, has really not performed. The problem with that card, Chorus of Iron Song, is that it just doesn't do enough in the matchups where you don't need to prevent damage. So you're basically choosing between 1 and 3 sideboard slots that are just going to be used for really just Enigma and Prism. But then even in those matches, they aren't necessarily gonna save you. It's a really tough fight. Having a 1-for-3 attack reaction that you can just run in every matchup, it can be part of your 60. And then also has this text that can help you into some of your worst matchups, Illusionist. Seems great. So it's just, it always makes me laugh what constitutes as a warrior M. You know, if you hold this up next to, not even like Codex of Fealty, but if you hold this up next to just some other M's, like Levels of Enlightenment as an example, and you look at what those cards can enable. And then you look at cards like this and you're like, oh yeah, warriors, we got a 1-for-3 that situationally might help you lose slower against some classes. It's just funny. But it does block 3, and you know what, we like those. Definitely be picking these ones up. Anything that says dagger on it, I'm not convinced. I haven't played around with Dorinthia and like Quicksilver dagger kind of thing. I'm gonna build a deck for that, see what I can do. But for right now, I'm just ignoring all the dagger cards, most of them. Sharpened Senses kind of, again, makes me laugh a little bit because I remember playing the PQs back in the fall after Unsheathed had just come out, and people weren't really sure how good that card was, and then I was playing with it. I was like, this card is amazing. I would take this in yellow. You know, if they printed a 0 cost +2, if its power is double its base or whatever, gets go again. It's like I would play that card, and this is basically what this is. But this one is actually better because, unlike Unsheathed, this one can grant go again at any point during combat. Unsheathed, you have to have double power on Dawnblade. You have to have 7 power on Dawnblade when you declare the attack. But Sharpened Senses is written a little bit differently, where you could play this, attack with Dawnblade for 4, and then in the reaction step, pump it up to 7, and it would get go again. So this is basically like yellow Unsheathed, but it's a little bit better. And I feel like this is going to be amazing. I could see this replacing, like sometimes I'm running yellow Warrior's Valor. I could see this replacing that. Maybe this would go in instead of Spoils of War. Maybe not. It is a 0 cost, so you can pair it with a cost pump, defending performance or something. So I think this is definitely going to be in the Dory decks. Maybe not 3 of them. Maybe we play 2 of them, something like that. But there's definitely space for them. Ian, Dagger Dory seems like a fun brew. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to trying to put something together with these like stances. Flurry stance, power stance. You run double Quicksilver Dagger. I don't. This is the thing I got to today, so I didn't get to a point of actually looking at what the Dory build would be like. But I looked at what all the Draconic Dagger cards are versus these generic ones, and I feel like if you want to do like crazy OTK Dagger, attack you a million times, with a devotion type stuff, Fang still might be better, just because the Draconic Dagger cards are really value. So it depends how good the Dory specs are in that deck, or how much it is important that for hero attacks so you can swing again is important. But I could see building like a Fang go wide Dagger deck as a fun project. Provoke. This card is going to go in Dorinthia decks. One of the things that Warrior classically lacks, and probably still even with this card, is interaction and ways to take your opponents off their 5-card hands if they don't want to block. So I could see why this is just a 3 of Warrior decks. Blocks 3, it's blue, and when your opponent is deciding not to interact with you, or if they decide to interact with you and maybe they do block out your Dawnblade swing, you don't get to keep attacking in that turn, you could just take 1 extra card from them so that their hit back against you is that much less effective. So yeah, all these M's I think are going to be staples in Dorinthia. Maybe not Sharpened Senses, maybe that's more of like your style of play, but any deck where Unsheathed is good, I think Sharpened Senses is going to be good. So if you have a lot of 1-cost pumps, 3 pumps, Commanding Performance, Lead with Speed, Sharpened Speed, I think this card's going to be good. Naked Edge is a necessity. I don't know how good it's going to be, but as long as there's Illusionists in the meta, you just have to play these. And you probably happily play them. And then the Provokes are users cards that have these in the benefit, so that's really nice. I don't see the stances being particularly good. Oh, again, they're all Dagger. That doesn't do anything. And everything else is... So yeah. These look like Dorinthia M's to me, and the Provokes just happen to be in my Fang list as another blue block 3 reaction that has text on it. But I could see those coming out, like I was saying, especially with New being such a part of the meta right now. It sucks when you get triple provoked by your new opponent. So, especially if they hit this with like Bonds of Agony, and then they're just in your graveyard or your banish zone. At any point in the game, the new can just decide to
completely strip your hands. Kind of like they did in that last game that we watched, or that we played. And that's really bad for you. So these might come out just because of new, but then if new isn't in the meta, I would definitely put them back. You might have seen when I went to decks there that I had two different versions of this deck. The big difference was trying to decide between the Tooth of the Dragon, which is the Draconic instant, but it pumps the second attack, and it can also pump attack action cards, which is really nice, but it doesn't block. So it was a pick between Tooth of the Dragon and then the Blister Blade. And initially I was like, oh, Blister Blade's way better. It blocks 2, that makes it more modal depending on what's going on. You know, it only deals 2 damage, but you can use it in different ways. But the more I've been playing with the instant, the Tooth of the Dragon, I've been really impressed with this. We saw it a little bit today where you can actually give your first attack go again. Maybe your opponent has committed to blocking it, so they've wasted some of their block. And then you have supercharged your second attack. And when you combine something like Tooth of the Dragon with even Stabbing Pain or something, now all of a sudden they have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 power dagger threatening to mark them. So I found that Tooth actually enables your marks and fealty generators a lot better. Or I guess mark to get fealty. So the chance of getting more fealty earlier seems to come from having the... We kind of gave up on the blocks. We don't really want to block with our Draconic reacts anyway. We want to be blocking with like these non-attacks or these attack actions that we can't use. Long Whisker Loyalty. So not having the block volume in here, ever. And then the other thing is, like, this hasn't come up yet, but if you get your hand stripped or something like that, and this is all you have left, even if you can't swing a dagger, you can still play this to keep your fealty around. Whereas with the blistering card, if this is your last card, or maybe you tucked it in Arsenal, and then your opponent strips your hand, you can't just run this out without an attack. So even then, the Tooth of the Dragon helps you keep your Yeah, awesome, Ian. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing against you too. Hope to see you soon. These Morlock Hills are here. Just I was playing around with the idea of some of the people in our local scene like KO this season. What do I do? This deck, or not KO, Kano, the wizard, because deck does have a little bit of troubles with Kano. Given that it's all red, the equipment isn't really conducive to pitching to blocking damage. And then Kano is also kind of resilient to turn-by-turn damage. They can block out and set up really big plays. And we don't have any way to prevent it. Like, we're not running Oasis in this deck and whatnot. So you can see in the list that I'm trying out different kinds of Spell Void, different Null Room setups. And then I was like, hey, like, if I have extra slots, could I just put these in my deck, and then if I run a Kano or a New, I guess, I could have that in there. Actually, I didn't think of that, but I guess this could be good against New as well, or the Assassins, right? If they go over top, it's kind of like a D-React, but... and it has to be in your hand or your arsenal, so they can't play it from your banish zone. So maybe Morlock Hill is actually consider to help improve the assassin endgame. I'm not really sure. I'll have to think about it a little bit. Anyway, that's where I'm going to finish off for tonight. Thanks everyone who tuned in, and yeah, by all means, send me messages, comment on the YouTube video, or find me in Discord. I'm Travesty. If you have questions about this deck, yeah, hope everyone's having fun specking on the new cards. Chat to you again soon.